Welcome. We are back live. We are back live. It is an honor and a pleasure. Welcome to the number one place for personal development. This is Coin Gang Ministries, and I am your player partner, your homie, your brethren. My name is Ken Billings. If you didn't know, what's good? When you come in the chat, if you can see me, press one. And if you can hear me, go ahead and press two. If you can see me, press one. And if you can hear me, press two. I appreciate you because without you, there's no this. So I appreciate your time and I appreciate your attention. You're at the right place at the right time. This is ministry for the abstract mind. And this is a safe space for everybody out there that has that out the box philosophy. What's good to you and yours? My name is Ken Billions. And over here at Coin Gang, our focus and our commitment is to personal development. This is ministry for the abstract mind, and it's a safe space for everybody out there that has an out the box philosophy. So, welcome. How are you? I hope everything is good in your life on this Good Friday. If you have babies, I want you to hug them close. I want you to love on those babies. I want you to keep those babies close to you because I don't have to tell you this parent thing, this thing, man, it's a journey. It's a journey. And those little people that grow up to big people, they are our clock and they are our teacher. In fact, those little people are our messiahs, right? So keep them close. And if you have someone in your life that is important to you and they're trying to love on you, please allow them to love on you. Get out of their way so they can do that. Shout out to the Coin Gang family out there, wherever you are, man and woman, wherever you are, in your travels, in your household. Shout out to you, especially if you are committed to personal development, committed to being a better version of yourself. Shout out to everybody out there that does the ugly, hard work behind the scenes of trying to be more official, studying, being disciplined, working on your craft, right? Growing. It's an ugly stage. It's like that Afro stage going to braids, right? So shout out to you. I appreciate you. Today, our conversation is, well, we're going to discuss the power of fear. How fear is so strong, and the fear that we have in us makes us have illusions. We're going to talk about suspended belief. You know how when we go to the movies and we cry and we root for the character, we have an emotional response to what we're seeing? That's called suspended belief. We're going to talk about the anxiety of freedom, how freedom can drive a person crazy. We're going to talk about how the mirror is the instrument or the thing that tells the truth. And we're going to find out who is the true oppressor. Who is the true oppressor right now? Is it the Jews? Is it white supremacy? Is it the Asians? Is it someone else? Right? Or is it something that we have been overlooking? Our bill today on this Good Friday, and it's a pleasure to bring you this bill, is the Black American illusion of oppression. Ooh. The Black American illusion of oppression. Now, some of you say, Ken, illusion of oppression? Sure, it's an illusion. It's an illusion. But first, we have to be clear on words. What does oppression mean? Unjust or cruel exercise of authority or power. Something that oppresses, especially being an unjust or excessive exercise of power or sense of being weighed down in body and mind. Now, if you're going off that definition, yeah, I'll go with you. A sense of being weighed down in body and mind. What many Black Americans are calling outside oppression is nothing but their own mind depressing them. So, to prove oppression, someone will use other people's experiences. Look what they're going through in Jackson. So what they'll do is they'll skip over, this is suspended belief. They'll skip over what's happening in their lives in exchange for someone else's reality. So they'll skip over that when they got married and how pleasant it was, how great it was. They'll skip over the experiences they're having as a parent and how joyful they'll feel. They'll skip over the reality that they're living in exchange for another person's reality to prove that this oppression exists. No, no, no. Or they'll say, what happened in the 60s or what happened in the 50s? You know, Black Americans are masters of the past. So much so that Black Americans can't give you anything right now in modern times. When you talk to the average Black American, they're going to take you to 1920. They're going to take you to 1850. They're not going to take you to what they are doing and what they are experiencing right now. That is suspended belief. You will drop what you're experiencing in exchange for a belief system that actually has nothing to do with you. And we mirror neurons. So when someone else says or someone else sneezes, right, we get a reaction. When someone else's experience is pain, we say it's our pain. But only the pain, though. We only share pain. We don't share resources. We don't share love. We don't share positive outcomes. We're only connected in trauma and pain. That's what makes us a people. It's hurt that connects us. What do we say? We say, you don't know our struggle. We don't say you don't know our wins, you don't know our prosperity. We say you don't know our struggle. Because if you're winning and you're brown in America, there's a level of guilt associated. You have survivor's guilt as if you're not supposed to experience that. If someone is loving on you or you're experiencing just fortunate times, you have a guilt associated with that as if you're not supposed to experience prosperity. You have a guilt going on with you as if you're not supposed to be loved, if you're not supposed to be happy, because the Black story is not a story of prosperity. It's a story of struggle. It's a story of lack. It's a story of overcoming, and we shall overcome and see the mountaintop. But what happens if you see the mountaintop? You will pretend that it doesn't exist in exchange for pain and trauma. So our conversation today is the Black American illusion of oppression. And I'm going to do my best job to shake you out of that and tell you that you are not oppressed. In fact, selling oppression to you, telling you that something on the outside is the problem, is a billion-dollar economy. No, it's the Jews that are doing it to you, because you know what? They're hiding your true racial history. But question, if you found out that you was the original Jews, if you found out that you was the original Hebrews, how would that change your behavior? Let's just say it's you and you're the lost tribe of Israel, like Kanye and Kyrie Irving are insinuating. Cool. What changes tomorrow about your behavior? Do you marry different? Are your cultural habits different? Do you become stewards of finance now? What changes when you find out you're the first? See, we have this thing in our culture about being the first and who's the real this and who's the real that. Does it matter if your behavior doesn't change? If you find out that history is one big lie and you are, in fact, the original every single thing, what changes? Now you have pride, right? Because now here's the thing, if you find out you are the original everything and now everybody gets to look at your behavior, it looks even worse. So if you are the original Hebrew, but your behavior in modern time look like this, and this is what your culture is, and Mona Scott is your culture, and love and hip hop is your culture, and the dysfunction is your culture, but you're the original, you actually put a stain on it. So if you found out right now that it's you that is chosen. It's you that history has lied about. When you find out that it's you, what changes? Do you even want that responsibility? Because to much is given, much is required. So if you find out in history that it's been one big conspiracy and one big lie, what changes? In fact, maybe they might be doing you a favor, because if you are the original, if you are the person that is the creator of all this, yet your state is what it is, now the world requires something from you. So as long as you're not attached to nothing, there's no excuse for your behavior. One of the biggest lies and one of the biggest finesses is convincing all of us that somehow our problems are outside of us. It's the system that's the problem. No, no, no. It's rich people and how they spend their money. No, it's women. No, it's men, right? It's somebody else. Meanwhile, you picked the person that you had a child with. You decided what you wanted to do today, how you went to sleep. You had total agency. It's so interesting that we make decisions and we don't like the outcome of the decisions. And then we say it's them or it's they or there's some type of conspiracy. You know what's interesting is the dopamine and the addiction we have to information. I'll give you an example. So right now there's all of these theories about the Grand Canyon and how somehow the Grand Canyon leads to Africa. And that's why they cut certain sections of the Grand Canyon off so you don't know. Or what about the ice wall in Antarctica, right? Okay, cool. If you find out that is true, what changes? So a dopamine or the new opiate, because no one wants to be religion anymore. Okay. So the new opiate is useless information. I live in Arizona. I've been to the Grand Canyon a couple times. Very, very, very beautiful place. If I'm at the Grand Canyon and someone taps me on my shoulders and they say, hey, by the way, do you know that there's a pathway that'll lead you to Africa here? And I say, okay, great. What changes? See, we are looking to be high on shit. Hey, did you know? Did you know? Right? Conspiracy theories. Cool, I'm with you. I know all of them. And when I learned them, nothing changes. And do you know I use the conspiracies as a band-aid? If this information they're keeping from me in Antarctica is going to change my life, if I find out that it's truly an ice wall, right? Or what Jules Verne was talking about with Hollow Earth, how is that going to make me a better father? Now, if I'm already an amazing father and I find out some cool information, great. But how does it make me a better partner? How does it make me have more money? How does it make me a better friend? How does it make me more production? In fact, it doesn't. It's actually a form of oppressing ourselves, because now we're walking around with this chip on our shoulder thinking that what they're keeping from us is the key to a great life. And I'm here to tell you, I studied all the books. I seen all the documentaries. And when I increase my knowledge, I also increase my sorrow. Nothing changed. The only change that began to occur is when I started focusing on personal development. Finding out about the ice wall in Antarctica, finding about conspiracies in the Federal Reserve, it did not change the relationship between my mom and I. In fact, it made me more depressed and it made me hard to be around, because I thought everybody that didn't know what I knew was somehow sleep. Yeah, yeah, y'all just don't get it. Yeah, you need to wake up. Okay, wake up to what? That we're all being lied to. Okay, now what? Food, clothes, shelter. You focus on the food, clothes, and shelter, then you can focus on that other shit. But first, you have to focus on your livelihood. These are the rules of the game. You got to focus on your shelter. You got to focus on your nutrition. You have to focus on self preservation. Conspiracy theories is not self preservation. Knowing who shot Kennedy is not self preservation. It's cool info, but what do I do with it? Knowing about who controls Hollywood, I don't have to participate in Hollywood. Knowing about, oh man, that there's people that are controlling the finances. What if I studied legalese? There is no thing out there that oppresses us more than our own mind. The true oppressor is not knowing that you have a choice. The true oppressor is not knowing that you have a choice. Do you know that you can do something that many people 100 years ago couldn't do? Do you know you can go to the public library and check out unlimited amounts of books, audiobooks, DVDs, and the books that you can check out, listen to this, are the minds of powerful people, rich people. They leave memoirs. They tell you exactly the mindset that they have to build infrastructure, riches, relationships, agriculture, anything you want to learn, you can go to the public library and study the minds of men and women, and they acquire that knowledge over years, and you can get what they learned in a couple hours. Do you know that you can do that? You know this, right? Do you know that you don't have to watch TV? You don't have to complain about what you see on the media. You don't have to watch TV. What you're saying is, since you're watching TV, companies should appeal to you. So you want certain programming shown. And if they don't show that programming, you complain, but you don't have to subscribe. Do you know that? So you have a choice in what you read. You have a choice in what you see. Do you know you have a choice on where your kids go to school? Do you know that you can homeschool? Do you know that you can pick the man or woman that you want to be with and have a child with? Do you know that? The true oppressor is you thinking that you don't have a damn choice in what you want, right? Now, you're going to be restricted in some things. There is a government. And unfortunately, it's more powerful than you. They have weapons, and unfortunately, there's more powerful than you. And there's taxes, and there's red tape around things. So yeah, there is rules, but there's also rules in nature too. If you cut your hand and you put it in the water, sharks will arrive. Animals sense weakness. So even nature has rules, right? If you are fearful in nature, certain animals will attack you. So there's rules in nature, and there's rules in the civilizations that we create. However, can you get a win? Now, I didn't say everybody would win. And just because everybody can't win, don't mean you can't win. So the true oppressor is you thinking that you don't have control over your own mind. That's a place that we oftentimes don't deal in. We don't deal in the mind. We'll look at Kanye and be like, see? What do you mean? He was in business with people. He said what he said. Those are the outcomes when you don't come from the mud. Let me tell you what that means. When you have partnerships, your partners have protocol, they have feelings, they have their own culture. What holds y'all together is business, right? When you step outside of the realms of business, there's consequences. However, go independent. Don't have corporate sponsorships. Kyrie Irving, that's a job that he has. He can quit. What's mind-boggling to me for Black Americans? Why do you want to stay in places where you feel like you're abused? If you feel like record companies are unjust and they jerk the artists, why are you signing deals? You know you can go hand in hand with it, but that's not sexy. You don't like how that looks. That's not a flex. What's a flex is you being able to show your IG followers the contract. Yeah, man, I just signed for this, that, and the third. That's the flex. See, the flex is not getting your hands dirty. The flex is not you having your boots to the ground. That's not the flex. Because after all, nobody wants to work hard, right? And it's not cool, right? It's not the cool factor when you have to build it from the mud. So you want to use other people's money. Cool. If you use my money and I fund your shit, do you think that you can say whatever you want when I'm putting money up? The only thing the company stopped doing is putting money up. Handle it yourself. Kyrie Irving, whatever he feels, he can quit. That's a job. Never forget, playing professional sports is a job. If you don't like what's going on, you can flex your options. Here's what Black Americans don't understand: you actually have a choice. What you think is your oppressor, you have a choice not to fuck with it or not. You don't have to send your babies to school, homeschool, right? You don't have to pick the person that you have a child with. You did that on your own. You can move out of your area. We live in a time of choice, but what we do is we suspend the belief and act like we're living in 1740. Oh, the man, and they won't let you in. Who's the they? Who is the they? Let me tell you who the real oppressors are. Y'all ready? Y'all go ahead and write this down. There are 5 oppressors of Black people. 5. I came up with 5. All right? Here's the true oppressors. This is my opinion, right? Number 5, the we theory. Being linked non-consensually or consensual. Spelled that wrong. Okay. Being linked non-consensually with a group of people based on color. That's oppressive. That's very oppressive. Because what you're saying is, because my skin is brown and their skin is brown, we're the same, even though if our behavior is not the same. Wouldn't it make sense that I'm linked to people based on their behavior and not because how I look? Looks are deceiving. That's very oppressive to link me to people that I don't even know their mindset and I don't even agree with them. So when they do something that I don't like, I still gotta rock with them. That's very oppressive because you force me to live around them because of my skin, and you force me to give to them because of my skin, even though we behave nothing alike. We don't have the same visions. We don't have the same goals. We don't have the same agenda. Yet you say we're the same people. No, 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 no. Correction. What makes us a people is the white man. Once you remove the white man out of the scenario, we are no longer people. The white man has always been the glue to make us become a nation. We're not the same. But for some reason, the European, the Spanish, the German, the English, the Dutch, when they involve themselves into indigenous culture, now all of a sudden we become this fictional community. And that's very, very oppressive because you should only be in groups through your consent. If you are pegged and attached to people without your consent, bullying can occur because you don't even want to be there from the gate. Also, the group is always going to move in a direction and no one even asks you, right? You don't even have an opinion about the way that the group goes or the way that the group thinks. So, the 5th oppressor of so-called Black Americans is the theory of we. There's no such thing. My proof of there's no such thing as a we, because if there was a we, you would not have to make songs, you would not have to dance, you would not have to coerce each other to spend money with your bro and your sister. It would automatically be innate. If we was the same, there would be no reason to create panels about the urgency of us being one united front. It would already be hardwired in us, but it ain't. You ever see birds, how they fly, right? They all move together. There's something, so maybe it's some radar or some type of electricity that allows them to flow as one group. See, there's something innate in them that makes them the same. They don't have to talk, they don't have to negotiate. They all move the same way. They all know inherently when it's time to migrate. It's real interesting to watch how they sway back and forth, how they form those V formations. Okay, cool. If we are truly a we, you don't have to convince me to buy black. You only tell me that if I'm separate from you. You only talk like that to me if someone has a higher agenda and they're trying to put us in a group. But I ask you, what's the perks? I'm all about perks. See, if we're a group and there's a we, I should benefit. When does the benefit come? With this, yeah, stay on code. Cool. What's the perks? Because I don't experience no perks when I had that mentality. In fact, it was very oppressive because when I was ready to do me, the group was like, you can't do that. Why not? I don't I don't know. You just can't. Right? When you go to pick a mate, the group says, no, we have to decide that for you. Right? When you go to experience your own individuality, the group says, that's weird. We don't do that. Okay, so what do we do? And then you find out that baked and pre-coded into the we is dysfunction. And baked and pre-coded into the we is lack and limited belief. And if you don't subscribe to the we, there's something wrong with you. You are bougie. You're a coon. You're an agent. If you talk about any kind of standards outside of the we, there's something wrong with you. If you don't subscribe to diabetes, if you don't subscribe to a slave narrative, if you don't subscribe to the Democratic Party, if you don't subscribe to this group think, this imaginary we, something is wrong with you. You are not judged based on your individual character. You are judged based on if they agree with your politics. You are judged based off if they agree with how you choose to do your hair. Your hair, how you do it, doesn't say anything about your goddamn self-hate towards yourself. Meanwhile, people drink Kool-Aid. That's part of the we. How is that not self-hate? That's sugar, right? Cardiovascular disease is one of the things that destroy so-called black life. And that comes from lifestyle. How is that not self-hate? So we can do things on a daily basis that destroys our health, right? But if I dye my hair blonde, that's self-hate. If you have a certain type of dating preference, that's self-hate. But nothing people do on a daily basis that's dysfunctional with their family or their health, that's okay, right? In our culture, we celebrate getting drunk. We celebrate getting high. Cool. But that's not self-hate though, right? But if a so-called black woman gets with a white man, that's self-hate, right? If a black man changes his hair color, or he's a Republican, or he sounds like Ben Carson, that's self-hate. Even though the man is extremely accomplished, that's neither here nor there, right? So the things that the group says is self-hate, but what you do on a daily basis that undermines your personal well-being, that's not self-hate. How DMX was living, that wasn't self-hate. But if he got with a white woman, that's self-hate. And that's the oppressive thing about being associated with the we. Because if you don't pick the group over yourself, something is wrong with you. You can destroy yourself, no problems. Everybody will let you too. You can crash out, no problems. In fact, They will sell you the shit that destroys you, right? But that's not self-hate. The D-boy doesn't have self-hate, right? That's fine. That's okay. The stick-up kid, that's not self-hate. That's just man gotta do what he gotta do. Okay, cool. Right? The jack boy, that's not self-hate. Self-hate is anything that would look like associated to so-called white culture. That's when I'm hating myself. Everything else, all good. I'm on code. Copy. All right. So the fifth thing that oppresses so-called Black Americans is the we theory. We are not a we. The only time we become a we is through consent, meaning, yo, I like your style. I like where you're going. I introduce you to my family. We become one. That means if you sink or swim, I'm invested in that. That matters to me if you have a job. That matters to me if you eat or not, right? It matters to me how your children are doing because you and I are the same, right? You can only become a we through consent, not through coercion. All right. Number four, the fourth thing that is oppressive, the fourth oppressor to so-called Black Americans, white labeling. And how I define white labeling is any standard associated with winning has a white label. So if you have a command of the English language, you talk white. If you have certain politics, oh, you have white right wing talking points, right? If you have a certain type of behavior, or you focused on education, or you have a certain type of family dynamic, that's white. Okay, cool. Well, what's Black? When a person in media, when they begin to like have their phases, and they begin to start acting a certain type of way in public, certain type of music, certain type of slang, it's associated with Black. When Justin Bieber's going through a crisis, right? And he starts to look a certain type of way, he starts to express himself a certain type of way, and it's in a low vibration, it's always pegged to Black. Oh yeah, you're appropriating Black culture. How is the behavior? If a white dude, so-called white dude, is a professor and he is doing math on the board, that will never be labeled associating Black culture, appropriating Black culture. If a woman is with her kids walking in a park, that will never be associated with appropriating Black culture. But if they start dancing a certain type of way, if the woman gets braids and put gold teeth in her mouth and be like, yo, yo, and she has starts to behave like a caricature, even we will say she act Black. There is no successful behavior that I can be like, damn, you're doing that, you acting Black. There's this misconception from the culture that, yeah, everybody want to be us. No, they don't. What people like is fun. Black culture has a funness about it because you act Black when you don't want responsibility. You act Black when you are trying to let your hair loose. People like that. People like that aspect because it's a young feel about acting Black. But when they go back to being responsible, they don't want to be you. They don't look to this culture for marriage. They don't look to this culture for finances. Oftentimes, when the young people of other cultures, when they break away from their parents, they begin to have Black behavior. Truth pill, right? Number one, Black is nothing but an act. That's all it is. That's why someone can act Black. It's not actually real. It's just an act. And the act is a subgenre, a subculture. And that's why when someone from another culture is doing that behavior, Their behavior is considered in the toilet. You have lost your way. The collective can fix that, but we have to be honest about it. If someone else wants to act black and they want to succeed, what will be the behavior? And it's actually interesting because for us to say that people back in the day, they were so oppressed and this, that, and the third, yet they were the moral fabric of America. Based on character, everybody's behavior was leveraged at look how black people behave. Based on character, black men and black women in America were the character standard, even based on what they were going through. They still out charactered everybody. And this is why when cameras were put on the black struggle in America, the world was sympathetic because the black collective in America had a certain character. Even though we come back and be like, oh man, those was coons, how you gonna turn the other cheek? That turn the other cheek shit appealed to the rest of the world like, damn, how are y'all gonna do that to those wholesome, good people? They don't say that now. If you even play the race card, no one has sympathy for you. If you played the race card 100 years ago, there was more sympathy because the character, right? The character of black Americans was the standard of America. The black American taught everybody else how to be a Christian. Let's be clear on that. The white American had to look deep within themselves and say, you know what? They're holding up those principles in that Bible. It's not America, it's them. And I'm sorry, niggas don't do good with secularism. The more y'all put that Bible down, I don't care if it's true or not. The more y'all put that Bible down, the more your culture is just terrible. The more the culture is terrible. You say something now, you're gonna apologize. Black people 100 years ago said something, they stood on that shit. And they knew the outcomes. They never apologized. You know why? Because their faith was so deep. That's why they didn't apologize. You know why everybody else apologized now? Because that's just a bunch of information. Y'all don't believe that shit though. Why did Kyrie Irving apologize? Why did Kanye apologize? Yeah, it sounds good. It sounds good, but do you really believe that? If you really believe that, why you don't stand on it? Because it's funny, we always talk about the ancestors. They never apologize. They was willing to go into the poorhouse. Muhammad Ali lost years of his life, of his career, because he wouldn't do something and he wasn't apologetic about it. Do you know why? Because his belief in his faith. Niggas don't have no belief. What you believe in? You don't really believe in Jesus, because if you did, anytime you felt you were persecuted, that would just activate you even more. You don't believe in that. So again, if you found out that you were the real children of Israel, now what? You ain't gonna stand on it? Because they'll say, I'll fire you. You know what you'll say? You know what? Matter of fact, I'm not. I'll take your social media channel. What? I'll make it so y'all can't dance no more. I'll make it so y'all can't rap no more. I'll make it so y'all can't smoke and drink no more. I guarantee you denounce your faith. Quick, fast. Y'all don't believe in nothing. Y'all can try to talk about them old people all day. You're not cut from that cloth, because you're going to apologize when you said something. Your granny that you look down on and your grandfather that you look down on, they stood on business. And guess what? if they was in a relationship with each other and a man stood on business, his wife didn't fucking leave him. Oh yeah. Y'all don't want to talk like that though. Now, if a man stand on business, if he stand on his belief and he get fired from his job and that has an effect on the wife's livelihood, she's out. That's where all these sorries are coming from, because the people behind the scenes is like, yo, what you're standing on is going to affect my lifestyle. So anything associated with standing on principles, anything associated with winning, anything that's associated with excellent behavior, anything associated with achievement is always considered white. Say what you want about the people last January. You don't have to agree. I'm not condoning it. However, they believed in something. They were out there for something. They believed in something. I'm not here to say were they right or wrong. What I'm saying is look at the power of belief. In Islamic cultures, the men that sacrificed themselves for this ideal, look at the power of belief. What do Black Americans believe in that they're willing to stand on it and lose their job, lose their freedom, lose their life? Absolutely, positively nothing. Standing on shit, that's for other cultures. To act black is to act cowardice. To act black is to tuck your tail ASAP. To act black is to look rich, but not behave rich. Come on. To act black is to have a bunch of information, but when it's time for you to stand on that information and talk about it, you ain't gonna say nothing. Notice Kyrie Irving and Kanye, I don't care what you feel about them. When the mic is in their face, they can't express their ideals. Oh yeah, I'm being picked on, I'm being persecuted. Man, start talking. Start talking. Quote your scholars. Stand on the business. Everybody else stood on business. Paul Robeson stood on business. Whether you like Garvey or not, stood on something. We always talk about Martin Luther King. They went to jail. They spent nights in jail. Black Panther Party, many of them are still in jail. Y'all don't want no smoke. So stop that. Somebody trying to wake us. You ain't trying to be woke up. Because what are you willing to sacrifice to so-called be woke? Now you don't even got to do shit. All you have to do is be like, yeah, fuck America. That makes you woke. That's all you got to do is be anti. No work, no nothing, no study, no nothing, no nothing. You don't got to put nothing down. You don't got to sacrifice nothing. But y'all black Christians though. Oh yeah, because Jesus did all the work for you. He already died, so you can dance and you can and have sex. You don't got to do nothing. You don't got to carry your cross. You missed the whole message. How you got salvation? You don't do nothing. You don't stand on nothing. So you could talk about them people from the past. Their Christianity is way stronger than yours. Their belief in that book, Grandmama and them, is way stronger than yours. And they were willing to really, really, really ride it out. And guess what? When anybody fell, somebody caught them. Y'all left Kanye by himself. Y'all left Kyrie Irving by himself. And y'all, what y'all do is y'all use other people with a lot to lose as a sacrificial lamb so you don't got to do shit. So riding out ain't acting black. Standing on business ain't acting black. Sticking together, that ain't acting black. Finances, that's not. So the fourth oppressive thing in so-called black America is the white labeling. And if you want to move forward in your life, if a man or woman is trying to achieve, the shaming tactic is, yeah, you over there with them people. What you mean them people got something I want? What you mean? I came with a business plan and them quote people had something for me. Yeah, yeah, I see you over there with that white woman. What you mean? I went over her family's house for Thanksgiving and they accepted me and it was love over there. I asked y'all what y'all doing over there. I don't celebrate that damn holiday. No standing on business, right? People gonna go where they feel the love and they can get the win. But in the name of keeping it real and being for the culture and being black, they expect you to starve. They expect you to live in poverty because, after all, when you begin to change your life and you begin to scale, something is wrong with you. So, the fourth thing that is oppressing blacks is white labeling. Getting money ain't white, yo. Winning ain't white, yo. Whites don't have a monopoly on moving forward. White people don't have a monopoly on excellence, right? White people don't have a monopoly on marriage. White people don't have a monopoly on raising children. They don't have a monopoly on education. But when you begin to tread in that direction, all of a sudden the culture is like, you forgot where you came from. First off, I never asked to be there in the first place. I was born around y'all. That don't mean that I'm the same as y'all. We just were forced to live around each other because people couldn't move because of redlining. So people that were unlike each other had to live around each other because of this ideal of the we, and we ain't no we. Hmm. So that's the fourth oppressor. The third oppressor, the culture. The culture punishes innocence and rewards dysfunction. You know what's funny? Little boy and little girl, if they're not fast enough, the culture has a way of sniffing that out. We have this vampire dynamic in the culture to where if that little boy ain't fast enough or that little girl ain't fast enough, we're going to begin to do things to speed up their timing because we don't know what childhood looks like. The bills go in their name, already messing up their credit. They get exposed to conversations they're not supposed to get exposed to. They see us having an argument and we don't change the language when they come around. We put them in our adult business. Yeah, I'm not feeling your daddy right now. Why he need to know that? He 10. Yeah, I don't like your mama. Why she need to know that? She's 10. We automatically attack and go at those little babies' innocence because, after all, a black child at 9 and 10, they're really grown-ups for real. Especially how a lot of children develop quickly. So we automatically take them out of being little people and we put our distress on them and we put our hardship and our struggle in them. It's not that we're teaching them responsibility. What we want to be, mama ain't got no money. Why you ain't got no money, mama? What's the reason? What's the reason? We're not going to say, I used the money for this. So here's why you can't get those sneakers right now. It's not that I don't have any money. It's I used the money for this. Right? I use the money for this. Here's how things work in the house. We have mortgage, we have rent, we have car insurance, right? We're not talking responsibility, we talk lack. What does that, especially little boy, do? I gotta go help mama. Cause mama in here crying. So I gotta help mama. So I'm gonna run out here, I'm gonna join a gang, right? I'm gonna sell drugs. Do you know a lot of these young boys? Trigger conversation, trigger warning. Do you know a lot of these boys, especially when they're young, 12, 13, 14, the reason they're in the streets because was some pain that mama pushed to them? Now, why did mama push the boy to pain? Cuz daddy ain't there or he is there and it's just he got happy hands or he got alcohol issues. So the child, young, so the boy runs out to the streets. The girl runs to an old nigga, right? So she 15 and she moving around with a 23-year-old, 24-year-old, 25-year-old because she got to get grown, right? She got to get her own, and he got a car, right? But where does all this start though? It starts from the parents. If the daddy ain't there or he is there, the mama begins to pass on pain to these little kids. And all of a sudden, boom, now those 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 year olds are all of a sudden grown-ups. Come on, man. We don't need, we like we don't even know what naivety looks like. We don't even know what innocent looks like because soon as we smell it, our job is to strip these children of innocence. We automatically tell them the world is crazy. Uh uh you tell the boy, yeah, police is just trying to take your life. So he got paranoia. You know what I'm saying? You make the little girl ashamed of her body. It's like it's her fault little boys like her. You don't talk to her about her period. It drops while she's in school. You make them grown, but you don't teach them the tools of how to be that. You just ignore them. Oh, you know why? Because we're so stuck on relationships. I need a man. I need a man. I need a man. Oh, I need a woman. I need a woman. I mean a woman. Ain't no conversations about the babies. What about the little people? No podcasts are about what happens when the children get here. No podcasts are about, you know what, today we need to raise some money for a little bit of capital because what happens if the kid is 16, 17 and they got a business idea? Where are they supposed to get the money from? So how about we use this program? This is little Adam. Adam got an ideal. Here's the business plan. Boom. 500,000, 2,000, whatever. You know what the conversation is about? Masculinity, femininity, who's crazy, the men or women. What about the babies? And the fact that we don't even consider what the children are thinking right now lets me know we don't give a damn about their innocence. The only thing we care about is being right on a podcast. Oh, you don't qualify for this kind of man. Oh, no woman is gonna like you if you don't got a masculine frame. All these conversations are dumb as hell. Do you know why? Because there's other kids, right? Pay attention. There's other kids that are being coached, groomed to handle your kids' money. For example, there are certain groups of people that are not focused on playing in the NBA. There's certain groups of people that are not focused on rap. They're not focused on playing in the NFL. They are the ones that handle the finances of your children, right? See, when they turn 12 and 13, there's these rites of passage, right? It's a big deal, right? They build the Rolodex for these young people. There's a transition between from boy and girl into woman and man. There's a transition, and there's things baked into the culture to assist them on the journey. They just don't start empty-handed at 21. You know what we tell them? We strip the innocence away and be like, if you don't find a job when you 21, I'm putting you out my house only so we can have a relationship. Mama gotta have a life too. So you put your son out at a very critical age though, right? And we had 21 years to come up with a plan, right? What is this boy gonna do? What is this girl gonna do? And so when we drop the ball, then we say, and we put this timer on it. You got to get out my house, right? If you don't do X, Y, and Z. Now, it's not that the child is problematic. It's because we don't want to deal no more. And the main thing is we want to have a relationship, so we're going to put their asses out. See a lot of mamas do that. And then the kid is 21, and then daddy didn't build nothing for the kid. So it starts when they young, and it starts and it transitions when they older. But it starts no innocence. Little black girls and boys are not allowed to be innocent. They automatically have to have the mean mug. Just look how we dress them. Look how we dress them. Why does a little kid aware of brand politics? Why do we do that? And then we show the picture, and then when we're looking at them, we forget that that's a baby, because the baby got drip on, right? You, I don't think our subconscious mind knows that we're looking at a child, because the way that we dress them up, the culture, this culture is oppression. Being in it is oppression. Most people from this culture have horror stories, but we like to pretend that it doesn't exist. And then you know what we'll do? Here comes the exceptionalism. Well, in my family, no, it's just everybody be lying, huh? We always find these exceptional people that be like, well, in my family, I didn't experience that. In my family, I didn't experience that. So everybody's lying. All of a sudden, the exceptional Negroes just raise their hand and come out the woodwork. But they never come out the woodwork when it's time to actually be exceptional. They only come out the woodwork when you're actually holding a magnifying glass to the culture. And all of a sudden, you have these exceptional Negroes pop out. Nah, man. Nah. Most of us have horror stories from this culture, and we're willing to suspend the belief that this culture has done what it's done to us and say, you know what? It's those people's fault that did it. Instead of looking the culture dead in the eye and be like, you know what? I'm not rocking with y'all no more. Y'all got to earn me, right? If you're in this culture and you have a love for the culture, cool. Make the culture earn you. You don't have to earn the culture. The culture has to earn you. The culture needs you. You don't need the culture because there's no perks anyway. There's no money that comes with it when you turn 18. You don't get a car if you graduate. There's actually no cultural perks. It's not like you get the plug on anything. It's just a bunch of um Cupid shuffle. It's the Cupid shuffle, right? Is diabetes. So you get diabetes. You get to do the Cupid shuffle. You know what I'm saying? Easter Sunday, right? You got Easter Sunday, come with the cool clothes. That's it though. Those are the only perks. Because whenever there's conflicts, we don't be like, yo, bro, come on, man, give me some grace. Hell no, they go right in on you, right? If there's an issue going on with you and your spouse and y'all get a divorce, they share that. And these are supposed to be people in your culture. Why would you share when the person is going through it? Content strategy, cool. Number two, I'm here for it. The cool factor. This is dangerous. Black people have an electric energy, so we chase the cool and pay a high price. This culture is all about being cool. That's all it's about. Being cool. That cool factor, hey, I've even done it, right? Where I'm willing to get taxed for a car, or get taxed to buy a bottle, or get taxed for clothes, get taxed for lifestyle, just so the culture can say, I'm cool. I get the car, and Not even break the car in. I take it back to people that I need validation from. Because the cool factor in this culture is very addictive. We have to be cool amongst each other, and we pay a high price for that cool factor. That cool factor costs us rent and mortgage. That cool factor costs us money that we need to handle responsibilities. But there's nothing like being cool. The black collective thinking you're that guy or that chick. Who's the BBL for? The cool factor. Who's the Beijing for? The cool factor. And let's stop saying, oh, I do this for me. Yeah, right. If no one had eyes, if everyone was blind, there would be no need. There would be no need. We chase the cool. That's all it's about. It ain't even about having money in your pocket. It's the appearance of having money, right? We need to look like we're doing it. That's why we get the marriage proposal, we put it on social media. We need people to be like, I see you. Oh yeah, y'all, I just got my dream car. And you keep refreshing your social media like, wait a minute, I didn't get no likes. So you post it again. Because the cool factor matters. The actual win is not what's important. It's the appearance of the win. Because the win is actually ugly. When you're looking at sports teams and they accomplished the goal of winning the championship, they all got sweat on their face. When you're looking at practice, they all got sweat on their face, right? There's injuries at play. People have torn ACL. See, the win is ugly. The win is not pretty. See, y'all only focused on the trophy. You ain't focused on the people involved in the win and what they had to do that. You looking at those people been together 50 years. You so focused on the time that you like, ooh, you only thinking about the time and you thinking about the pictures. You ain't thinking about when she got sick. You ain't thinking about when he got sick. You ain't thinking about things that they went through in the relationship, losing children, burying your own children. See, if they post that, you don't want no smoke. See, that's what comes with being with somebody 50 years, 60 years, 70 years since you was been 18 years old. We're looking at the pictures and the time. We're not focused on the actual win. We're focused on the appearance of winning. All the relationship shit y'all talking about is the appearance of a marriage. You focused on the appearance of what it looks like being with somebody. What do you know what do you know about being with somebody for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? What do you know about that? And what do you know about the changes that men and women go through in the relationship? What do you know about when your kids are grown now and y'all got to figure out a reason to love each other again because y'all children held y'all down? What do you know about burying parents and burying grandparents? You know the appearance of marriage. You know the appearance of entrepreneurship. What about days you don't make no money? Hmm? Do you know my most fire builds? Shit that I took to prep 3 hours, 4 hours. My most fire builds never made no money. Do you know that? Do you know that? I'm talking about the shit where I'm looking in the chat and people like, cook, Ken, cook. And I'm getting emails, yo, that last joint saved my life, caught me at a good time. I didn't even make no money on that. Not a dime. Oh, but the appearance though, right? The appearance. It looks a certain kind of way. But what's the behind the scenes, right? So I'm doing this for something greater later. But ain't no money in this shit. Ain't no bread in this shit. The people, yeah, brother, but they don't got shit for you. It's money in the dysfunction. That's where the super chats come. That's where the cash apps come in the PayPal on gossip. There's no money in the beginning of personal development. But I look good though, right? Right? I'm not buying jackets off of this shit. Just know that. Right? When you chase the cool, you'll put down your purpose. When you chase the cool, you'll look and be like, man, I'm not winning. I'm not winning right now. So let me do what they do. When you chase the cool, you'll be a woman looking at other women's IGs. Oh, they get to travel. My man can't do that now, so I'm unhappy. You don't even know the woman got a train ran on her for that. And if that's your thing, do you. But you don't know how she took that trip. You don't know. So you'll put pressure on your man. Or when you're a dude, your girl, your lady just had the baby and she don't got that snap back right away, but you on IG and you looking at the models, so you be like, you know what? I'm gonna break up my whole family. I don't want to be together no more. I'm not sexually attracted to you no more because she ain't snapped back in the first year. See, chasing the cool. Yeah, man, it's important when men are visual. We want to have something on our arm. For who? For other people. So other people could be like, damn, yo, your wife is bad. And you feel a certain type of way. You don't want nobody unless somebody else want them. That's chasing the cool. You ain't standing on purpose and what's good for you. That's all chasing the cool. And we give up resources, precious time, we end relationships chasing the cool. But what happens? What happens while you're chasing the cool if no one's looking? While you're chasing the cool, what happens if you find out no one even cares what you're doing? Would you even pick the woman that you picked? If you found out no one cared, would you be with the man that you really actually liked? If you found out that the cool didn't exist, would it even matter if you drove that car? Right? If you found out that if you stayed with your content long enough, right, you'll be sitting on the top of the world if you just stuck with it. Nah, because the views is cool factor. People look at the views and be like, you know what? You must be right because you have 500,000 people there. So you have to be right. The cool is dangerous. The cool is oppressive. The cool will have you putting down your interests and your hobbies. And the cool will have you going against things that you personally stand for other people's validation, just so people say, damn, you that guy, you that chick. I'll leave off this. What happens? What would you do if you found out that the people looking at you had corrupted eyes? What would you do if you found out that the people that are praising you have corrupted eyes? And they don't really see you anyway. They only see the car, they only see the BBL, they only see the jewelry, they only see the followers, but they don't actually see you. And the unfortunate thing in chasing the cool factor, the people that did see you, minus all that, are gone. And the thing that you really, really lose is your own identity. Because then you're going to be like, damn, who was I? Who was I before I chased the cool? Before I stepped out here and needed validation, right? The white plantation isn't the only plantation. There's a Negro plantation too. And on that plantation, it's not about your abilities. It's not about your intrinsic value. On that plantation, the plantation many of us grew up on, It's about how you look. It's not about how you're doing. Woo. Woo. The collective don't care how you're doing. They care how you look. And as long as the collective has a control over how you look, you'll always be in someone else's image. And in the words of a famous philosopher, you ain't got the answer, Sway. The collective don't have the answers. How you gonna let people tell you what's cool and these people think that they're come from a slave? How you gonna let these people tell you what's cool and they have an pre-coded inferiority complex? How you gonna let these people tell you what's cool and they haven't overcame childhood fears? How you gonna let these people, this collective, this imaginary we, how you gonna let them decide what's cool? They don't even have a nationality. They, politically, they technically don't even exist. How can people with no nation tell you what's the cool factor? How can you let people tell you what's cool? And if another person, even a culture, utters the N word, they lose their shit. Other groups of people have power and agency over them that much. And they got control over telling you or me how to be cool, what's cool. Tuh. The cool factor is oppressive. Let me tell you what is cool. Having a goal and smashing it. That's cool. Loving on yourself. Like really, 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 really having self-love. That's cool. Picking yourself first. That's cool. Identifying why you're here. Are you here for the cause or be cause? I think that's cool. Having personal hobbies that you enjoy, that make you proud and happy, whether you do it for a monetary gain or you just do it because it brings you fulfillment, that's cool. Being able to decide the mate for of your choosing, what works for you and what doesn't, that's cool. Raising your children up with your ideals and how you see the world, independent from pop culture narratives and ideals, that's cool. Having deep, meaningful friendships with people, people that can check you, people that can tell you the truth, people that can tell you when you're slipping. Being able to look at yourself in the mirror and see who you really are, that's cool. Clothes aren't cool. Cars aren't cool. I had them, right? I spent some money on this jacket, and it's not what makes me cool, right? This is how I just show up when I do videos, but that doesn't make me cool. I got hobbies. I'm a person outside of this. I can be goofy, right? There's a small level of innocence still there from my childhood, right? Where I be surprised at life, where I'm not so bitter and numb where I can't crack a smile and laugh hysterically. You know what I'm saying? That's cool, right? We can sit on a bench at the mall and people watch and roast people. That's cool. They're probably roasting me too. You know what I'm saying? That's cool. And the number one oppressive thing in black culture. You know what's oppressing black men and women? Being an adult. Minority status slash arrested development. Being an adult is oppressive to black people. Growing up, we are stuck in Peter Pan kind of shit where we don't want to grow up, where there's this childlike thing about us. And that's cool, but you got to know where to apply that shit. We don't think about building the roads where we live. We don't think about educating our babies. We don't think about the supply chain. Listen to hip hop music right now. Just listen. Go from song to song to song, from the most talented artists to the terrible artists. Do you hear adulting? I don't want to hear, can they make us say that? You don't got to sign that deal. It's one big party. If I go to TikTok, it's one big party every day. You wouldn't even know that we went through COVID. You wouldn't know that inflation is happening. If you listen to hip hop music right now, you wouldn't even know that there's things going on in Ukraine and Russia. You would not know anything about the world because the vibe and the frequency is scared of being adult. Now these people have children. You would never know. They don't talk about what it's like to watch your child grow. They don't talk about the fears and concerns you have as a parent sending your children out in the world. There's no songs like that because the number one oppressive thing in Black America is being an adult. We don't want no smoke of being grown and being responsible. The man is definitely going to blame the woman, right? It's a culture where the man is gonna blame the woman. Now, why did I single out the men? Because we say that the men are leaders. Cool. So the man is gonna blame the woman for every single thing. The man tells the woman to choose better. The man tells the woman, pick me, right? Don't pick those pookies. Right? The man also says, you know what? I don't have control over my reality. My reality is being controlled by other groups of men. And when there's time to do something about that, the man steps back, right? The man is in conflict with the woman in this group. There's a weird jealousy going on. The government makes incentives for you. Goldman Sachs gives you this, and what about me, and what about that? The man in the group will say, look at these women in these cultures. How come you don't act like them? That's what the man will say. But if the woman were to say, well, how come you don't act like these men? Right? Then the man in the group is going to say, because they don't allow me to. If the mirror was going to be held on the man in the group, and the man is getting compared to other men in other communities and cultures, the man in the group is going to say he can't do that because those men don't allow him to do that. But that same man says that the woman in the group should be up under him. She should submit to him. But at the same time, the man doesn't want to be an adult. Prank videos, no conflict resolution, always going back and forth with people, always in your feelings, um, tearing down, never building, ripping down. And the men from the group that have a desire to achieve, those men at the bottom label him an educated lame. If the boy in a group chooses to have discipline, if he's not that sexually active, those same males in those groups in the group shame him. Any male from the group that has a desire to take on responsibility, the males in the group call him names. If he wants to be married, they call him names. If he doesn't have the appearance of being from the lower class, they call him names. The overwhelming majority of the males in the group have no desire to be an adult. So, what we call that is arrested development. That even though the male in the group is 6'5", has a very deep voice, maybe sexually appealing to women, the shell represents something physically developed. But the intellect and what's inside of the man has not been elevated, watered, and ministered to. So even though he's 6'5" and he's big and he has a physical presence unlike every other male on the planet, the smaller guys from other groups are going to look up to that 6'5" person who is physically towering over him, point their finger out, and say, "You better apologize for what you said." And that 6'5" man is going to look down at that little man, the adult man, right? The adult man. And he's going to say, "Okay." See, because the difference in other communities, the little men are adults. In this area, the big men are children. And that's why little men in other communities get to tell big men in this culture what to wear, what to think, how to govern themselves, how to behave. They teach your children. They tell you how to be married. They tell you what to read. They tell you what to write. Right? Because the male in this group is stuck in arrested development. Not fully grown. Like stuck there's a dash area to where the male child was supposed to go to adulthood but got stuck in the middle somewhere. Always dancing. Always rapping. Always complaining. Always crying on camera. Always being disrespectful. Always telling people what you ain't gonna do. But at the same time, like a child, because I have one, right? Has an interesting form of narcissism where at the same time, being at the bottom, you think you're coming first though. You're the first Jew. You're the first Muslim. You're the first Christian. You're the original man. You are the creator of civilization. The richest man in ever was Mansa Musa. The whole world. And another one. You are the most desired man. So just so I'm clear, the man that gets told what to do by other groups of men, smaller groups of men, more physically weaker groups of men, you're desired more than him. The man that blames the woman in his group for every single problem, it's her fault. You are at the same time most desired. The man that is not the face of finances agriculture, big business, military science, astrophysics, right? Leadership, anything that moves the needle in society. The man in this group is not the face of it. Oh, I'm lying. I'm lying. Sports, drugs, and entertainment. That's where the face reigns supreme. So, also bedroom activity, right? But none of this moves the needle because even being the most desired man on the planet, this is what y'all say, you are the most desired man, but somehow you being desired by these women that y'all say is not actually lifting up your position socially. So basically, you don't know what to do with your desirability. So you're the most desired man on the planet, yet you give away what you're desired for free. Desired people put a tax on what they're desired for. So you claim to be the most, this is your argument back to the women. Why am I leaving the woman out? Because if anything goes wrong, everybody comes for the man. So I'm leaving the woman out. Ken, why are you not talking about them? Why would I? Why would I? Right? Why would I? Because this is man on man. Right? Now, to be the most desired man on the planet, this is what y'all say. You are the most desired. Okay, cool. I'm with you. When are you going to put a tax on what people desire you for? How come what you're desired for doesn't lift you out of poverty? Let me tell you why. Because you're not thinking like an adult. If you are desired for something, and that means women on the planet covet you. They want you in droves. Okay. How do you leverage that into a better existence? Because you can't be the most desired and the most oppressed and the most poor and the most uneducated and the most targeted. There's value on things that have desire. When I was listening to Kanye West talk, that did not sound like the most desirable man on the planet. When I listened to Kyrie Irving talk, and his position is his position, it does not sound like that's the most desirable man on the planet. When I hear you brothers talk on your panels, that does not sound like the most desirable man. Because what it sounds like is lack of confidence and always talking from a position of weakness. What makes you the most desirable? Oh, because you focus on the lower nature. Okay. That's the number one oppressive thing in Black America is arrested development, the thinking, the childlike thinking that is applied to real world shit. The fact that you can't separate that people like you for a kink versus real world. See, you don't realize there are people that can go to that intimate space and leave it right there where they're done. It doesn't bleed over into their regular life. You don't understand that you can be used and sought after when people need to let their hair down. But when Monday comes, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday comes, business hours, no one's rocking with you. Do you know why? Because what you are desired for and what you don't understand is the things that people let off steam for. You're not desired for your mind, because that's what you'll get paid for, right? You're not desired for leadership ability. You're not desired to solve complex math, right? You're not desired to put pen to the paper. When we're having supply chain issues, you're not the person that people call on to solve this problem, right? And the interesting thing is, the same women that y'all have a beef with, they actually desire you just because your skin looks the way it does. You don't even have to do anything. Listen to what I said. The woman that you actually are in conflict with, you can be mediocre and still get called king. You don't actually have to do anything. So where the real desirability is, you don't want them, right? You don't even have to do anything. All you have to do is be brown, and you can be called a king, and you don't have to compete. You don't have to do anything, and they still call you a king. And that also leaves uh, the male in arrested development. One of the other things that leaves the group as a whole, or cripples the group, is suspended belief. You cannot continue to suspend your belief to take on realities that don't fit you. Your grandparents' reality was not yours, right? The horrors or the history is not yours. Your thing is the mystery. That's your job to unlock the mystery. The history is already fixed. And what we do is have survivor's guilt, to where you have hardworking men and women that will give up their life for a narrative. You have hardworking men and women that will give up their position because they don't feel like they're supposed to be loved, or they don't feel like they're even supposed to be here. It's a form of imposter syndrome that you are like stressed out that you are winning, right? Come on. Come on, man. Other thing is freedom anxiety. What is messing the people up and giving them anxiety is freedom. Too much freedom. The fact that the collective is free is actually ruining them. You need some real pressure. You need a glue that keeps you together, because you can't do it on your own, right? So freedom is creating the anxiety. Freedom is creating this gender war, right? Freedom is creating these talking points. You don't know what to do with your freedom. That freedom, excuse me, that also goes back to arrested development. Freedom comes with responsibility. Freedom comes with accountability. You have to know what to do with your freedom. You have to know how to be free. All of our literature that we read back in the day was about getting free. But what happens when you get freedom? And whether you know it or not, you are free. So don't let nobody use liberation. Liberation. You are free. Were you free to pick the woman that you're with? Were you free to pick the man that you're with? You were free to do that. You're free. It's being here. You chose. You have freedom. What you want, though, is to be able to do anything you want to do with no pushback. And that's your anxiety. You want to be able to say what you want. You want to be able to be any place at any time. You don't want anything saying, no one saying anything to you. And if someone says anything to you to challenge you or to push back, you look at it as oppressing. But at the end of the day, the mirror tells the truth. When you look in the mirror, if you're not happy with what you see, that's the oppressor. At this point, because the game or the matrix, whatever, has morphed into some very, very interesting different things with different sides, and it's so complex. You are the oppressor. You are your own oppressor, right? This is the thing, man. This thing is going off planet. The so-called elite, the people that you think are conspiring against you, they're not even worried about this planet no more. It's old news. Watch a movie called Elysium. That's the next thing. And that deals with the permanent underclass. They don't have to create no new systems. You're already in it. It's algorithm supremacy. You already oppress yourself with your YouTube recommendations and your watch history online. You do it yourself. Nobody needs to do anything to you. This thing is functioning on its own. The next phase of humanity is off planet. Why do you think they keep going up there? What's the point? Right? They're doing something. And a good movie on that is Elysium with Matt Damon, I believe. Check out that movie. So the permanent underclass is already here. It's already fixed. You're already in it. This is why the conversations are on the feedback loop. Your YouTube algorithm tells you what to watch, and it never deals with personal development, right? Your internet history shows you who you are. So no one has to do anything to you at this point. This game is sophisticated. You'll do it yourself. You will crash out yourself. You do not need nobody's help. The mirror tells us the truth. Look at our results. Who can be blamed for our finances? Who can be blamed for our households if they're upside down? Who can be blamed for our health issues when we choose to eat what we eat? When we choose to watch what we watch? When we choose to lay down who we lay down with? When we choose the direction of our parents? And that's arrested development. That's minority status, not taking control over your own life. Oh, what about this? What about that? What about it's always going to be something going on. The only thing you really, 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 really have control over, and the only thing you really have power over, is the control over your own mind and what you think about, and control over where you decide to focus and put your attention. So our conversation today was the Black American illusion of oppression. What you're going through, what you're feeling, is all been created by you. Your mind, your attention, your habits, your behavior, the things you like. Your choice is your oppressor. So what are you going to choose? You can be free or you can be a slave. Where Kanye was right about, it is a choice.